life has a way of surprising us. So recently, I embarked on the incredible journey of motherhood. Well, actually, let me back up. In 2022, I had gotten married and then pregnant. And then in 2023, I gave birth to my first baby, a beautiful daughter. And to say that these experiences have shaped me in profound ways would be a great understatement. I have felt that in the last 1 to 2 years, I have lived like a lifetime. And I feel like almost a different person in a way. Actually, a more accurate description would be I feel like there are two or more, maybe even identities that are within me right now, and they're kind of duking it out a little bit. And I felt this before, and whenever this happens, it means that a part of me is dying is the best way of saying it, and then another one is growing and taking its place. And this kind of thing has happened at, I would say, 4 points in my life. The first one would be when I was trying to lose weight, which for those of you who know me, I've had like almost decade-long journey with weight loss, and when I finally lost the weight, I really had to adopt a new personality, essentially, right? I had to adopt a whole new mindset and really so many limiting beliefs, and it changed me. At the root of it, though, what changed me was my relationship to my body, my relationship to food, my relationship to myself. And so that's the first pillar, or that's the first, I guess, major transformation that I felt I experienced. The second major transformation was starting my first business. And through that, I had to release a lot of limiting beliefs about what I valued and really come to terms with what I wanted versus what I think other people wanted, and come to terms with, seeing achievement as an ultimate goal, which is really just an ego-driven need. And it was really what prompted me to start the original form of this podcast called Meet Yourself, right? Because it was me trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, and that's why I created the show. So that was my relationship to my work, to my craft, to my art. That's one way of looking at it. Okay, the third thing was marriage. And this started when I ended an 8-year-long relationship with a man who was never going to marry me. And he made it very clear that he didn't even foresee marriage or children in his future. He said that maybe, maybe he can, maybe he could do it. Maybe he could change his mind, right? But he told me very early on that was not something that he didn't see himself as that kind of a man. And for 8 years, I hoped and hoped and hoped and hoped that I could change this, knowing what I know now, obviously. You can't change people, right? You can't affect people's free will. And letting go of that relationship, that's a whole story all in and of itself. But I had to, again, change my identity, release limiting beliefs, and really get clear on what is the relationship I wanted, not just what is the man I wanted, what is the relationship I wanted, what is the ideal marriage that I'm looking for, and not just what it looks like, but how I feel, like how I would feel in that relationship. And that really helped me get clear on the type of values I want in the other person, and then which helped me, in extension, get clear on the type of values I need and the type of person that I need to be a reciprocal match for this person in order to have my dream marriage. And I got that in 2021. And now I would say my marriage is the best thing about my life right now. And it is what makes motherhood just so much more fulfilling and robust than it would be if I did not have a marriage like this to essentially ground our family and provide that structure for all of the growth and the chaos that occur within that space. So that leads me to the fourth thing that I feel is kind of shifting my identity a little bit. And I am going through that transition right now. And to be clear, I'm kind of still in the process of going through that transition with work and, or with my relationship to work and my relationship to marriage as well too. But this one is like the freshest and biggest one that I'm experiencing right now, and that is the transition into being a parent, being a mother. When I had my baby in early the spring of 2023, I had nothing could have prepared me for what was going to happen. And the way I have been explaining to people is that in the span of like 1 week after giving birth, like within that first week of giving birth, I feel like I have felt the widest range of emotions in the widest magnitude of each of those emotions that I have ever felt in my entire life. And there were moments where I experienced my highest highs, like I felt, how do I even explain it? It was almost like a sense of deep purpose and meaning and love. A more grounded way of saying that is it felt like I was high, I guess. I've never done hard drugs, but um like ecstasy, like I've never done like LSD or ecstasy, but I imagine like if I ever did ecstasy, that's probably what it felt like it would feel like. So that's the highest highs. And let's not forget the lowest lows. Oh my God. I have never formally gotten diagnosed with depression or anxiety, but if so I don't know exactly what it feels like, but those first, especially that first week, I felt the closest I ever gone to feeling like that must have been what depression and anxiety feels like. Like I remember when I was experiencing the mood swings, I'm like, this must be what depression feels like or anxiety feels like I felt both. Felt depressed and anxious. It was almost like my brain dissociated from my body or multiple parts of my brain dissociated from my body. And there was like chatter going on in my head that I couldn't recognize. I'm like, I was thinking thoughts that I'm like, this is not me, but I can't stop it. And anyway, that's a separate story on its own as well. But the point is the amount of this whole range of feelings that I had experienced, it started to, I think, also change me in a way. And, when you introduce something as life changing as a baby into your life, it is a forcing function for you to really start to take a step back and focus and reprioritize your life, and then focus on the things that like truly, truly, truly are important to you. Like you don't really have the luxury to just like dick around with like things that don't matter, right? Like you have to be so smart about your energy. And the way I like to think about it is your energy becomes way more expensive. Like it costs a lot now to make me expend a lot of energy caring about something that doesn't matter. And when I catch myself falling into that trap about over caring about something that doesn't really matter, I feel like I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of energy, right? And it just slap in the face, like it hurts. So it really is a gift in the end. It's such a gift to realize what are the things that truly matter, what are the things that don't truly matter, because life ends up feeling, when you get clear on what truly matters and you believe it, right? Like those doubts kind of start getting quieter and quieter and quieter, and you live a life. This is called living a life in alignment to what your true desires are. And I do believe that what your true desires are change throughout your life, right? I think we live life in seasons. Like nobody wakes up knowing exactly what they want to do for the rest of their lives and do it. I mean, maybe some people do, and I wistfully am like envious of the people who have that, right? But I think most of us, I would think most of us are live life in seasons like that. In this current season, what I am noticing is that the most important things that really drive me and that just light me up and energize me rather than take away is our relationships. And by that, I mean having those deep, profound, meaningful, and genuine relationships. Those types of relationships have always, always been the biggest tools of self-growth and expansion for me. Right, like those four things I talked about. The first was my relationship to my body. The second was my relationship to my work, or how I want to serve the world. And the fourth one was relationship to my partner in life. And the last one is relationship to my baby. So I really want to take this podcast in a like a different direction, but still one that has to do with living in alignment with like with what you really are, but in the context of these deep relationships and connections, because that is really what I feel is defining my values and my beliefs and my identity right now in my life as a result of that. So I want to explore how relationships, whether with ourselves, our partners, or in parenthood, can be catalysts for personal transformation. As you probably have experienced yourself, and as I kind of trying to express here, there's a unique alchemy that occurs within these connections. And I just can't wait to explore more of it with you. And I already have some guests that will be coming on the show to talk more about their experience within these relationships. Now, before I go on, there's one thing that I do want to clarify that I don't think I did earlier, which is I included relationship with the three, I believe the three most important relationships that we can choose to have if we want to is our relationship with ourselves. That one actually we can't choose to have. We're stuck with ourselves. But the second one is our relationship with our spouse in marriage. Or life partner. And the third one is our relationships with our kids, should we choose to have any. And those, I think, are like the three most transformational relationships. Now, I left relationship with work off of that list. And the reason why I did that is really, it's actually an extension of, I believe it's an extension of our relationship with ourselves. It's actually in that first category. What I've come to know is that every single problem I've ever had, every single struggle, like internal, personal, psychological struggle that I've had with work, it all stemmed from a unhealthy or temporarily injured relationship with myself, with my own idea of what I think I deserve and what my value is, and I project that onto people in my work environment, whether that's people I work with, whether that's with my clients, my customers. And so really at the end, when I went back and thought about all this, at the end, your relationship with your work, your art, your service to humanity, whatever you want to call it, is an extension of your relationship to yourself. So also, to be honest, I just really like the idea that me, marriage, and motherhood all begin with M. I am a huge fan of alliteration. Like that's my weakness. Alliteration has always been my weakness. So that has something to do with it as well. So I will definitely still talk about work, and because it's almost impossible to talk about some of these things, like your relationship in marriage and motherhood, without also talking about work. Like, the biggest question every parent struggles with is, does my family come first or career, right? I mean, everybody says family, but really, it really, what does your actions say, right? Family first or career first, or can you have it all, right? That's the other question that comes up, right? So especially if you're born in Western society, it's almost impossible to talk about relationships and not talk about work. Like in love relationships, work comes up a lot too. Like, oh, he cares more about his career than he cares about me. I hear it all the time. So same thing with, as I said, your relationship to yourself, right? Where's your self-worth coming from? I see a lot of people, myself included, attach their self-worth to their jobs. And so I'm just like, it's going to come up. It's going to come up in our current society. Yeah. So going forward, that is kind of the direction. I mean, that's the angle. It's still the same direction, but it's a different angle. It's a different perspective. It's a different point of view. And the podcast, I will be rebranding it to Me, Marriage, and Motherhood for the reasons that I said. I'm curious to see how this goes. I do feel, it just feels right. It just feels like this is the right, well, no, let me use a different word. This sparks joy. Buckle up for a fresh and heartfelt exploration of self-discovery within the context of marriage, parenthood, or love relationships, even if you're not married, and of course, relationship with yourself as well. I'm excited to embark on this journey with you, and let's dive into the transformational power of relationships together. Until next time, stay connected.